Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Teacher's Table. I am so jazzed to have you all here. If you guys could do me a favor and throw your name into the chat box, and if you're catching this later, if you're watching this after the fact, these are super good chats to watch. You guys can see the chat off to the side in the same sort of real time that it happened, and feel free to answer some of the questions, some of the things we're talking about down below in the comment box if you're catching this later. And welcome to the Teacher's Table. It is a great space, a space that we all sort of come together as educators. And here during the Hive Summit, kind of special, we're doing a daily Teacher's Table in which we can kind of come around, and we can do even what we call Teacher's Table Talk Back, where we end up having some of the speakers come back. And last night we had Dean Gainey on, and it was fantastic. What a wonderful session. You guys can check that. It should almost be done processing here in a little bit, and you'll be able to catch that episode afterwards. But it takes like 20 some hours to encode it. It's crazy, but that's what it is. So today we're talking a little bit. So each morning we've been talking about the days before video, and yesterday's video was my video. So kind of excited. I guess this makes this my talk back, if you will. But before we get to that, a few things that I want to talk about here. First, let's see who's here. Let's see who we got. David here, awesome having you from Canada. Regina, love it. Natalia, good to see you. And Kathy Sue, I love it, man. Kathy Sue, you make it like all the time, and I love it. Hamdi, this is amazing. Hamdi stayed up last night till 1 a.m., which was her start time for the talkback session with Dean Gainey. I hope you found it worthwhile. That was amazing that you stayed up from 1 to 2 to watch that. Welcome, Jamie. I'm so lovely to have you at the table, new person at the Teacher's Table. And we got Carrie, love it. Carrie, sorry. We got today's like goal is a high one. We're now 4 days into the Hive Summit. I'm hoping we can kind of inch these up a little bit. Today's like goal is 30. And I also want to point out, if you're catching this later, you can add to that like goal. I'm thinking about adding like a total like goal for a time period, so that would be kind of cool. But if you catch this later, feel free to add to the like goal challenge. Jennifer Knox made it back. Will's here. Love it. I'm a girl dad as well. Fabulous. Michael's here from Malaysia. That's, again, worldwide. Candace, so excited that you're at the Teacher's Table with us. I know it's a little early. Mike Washburn, fantastic that you made it here to the Teacher's Table. Absolutely love it. Robert, good to see you at the Teacher's Table. Dean, loving it. You and I last night, I said I need more Dean in my life, and here, I'm getting it. I love it. That's fabulous. Thanks for the bow tie comment there. I have a presentation I'm doing for Alaska later today, and you want to look right for that. I agree. Grateful for an awesome PLN. Jason Howe's here. Love it. Carmen also stayed up till like midnight last night to do the talk back with Dean. Thank you so much. That is amazing. Good morning, Adam Marino from northern Wisconsin there. Gorgeous morning. I'm glad. Regina, live on the East Coast. I dig it. All right. So we have, well, right now we're at 13 on the likes. And remember, so we're going to go, before we get into my session and sort of debrief in that, I'd like to first share a little bit of the Teacher's Table etiquette. One, probably the most important, everybody here is welcome around the table. And with that, I need your help to sort of welcome people that come to the Teacher's Table. So if you could, when you see somebody new, hop into that comment. I mean, they're brave. This might be their first live stream they've ever been a part of. So when they put their comment out there and it's the first time we've seen them, definitely welcome them to the table. Say morning. The other etiquette is, if you want to like talk directly to somebody, you can put at and then their name, and what it does is it highlights it in the chat box for them so that they really know you're talking at them. This is important for me. So if you're answering any of my questions, or if you want to interact with me or something like that, I have a lot going on here, and it's super helpful if you put at Mr. Matera at the beginning of your comment. That really, really helps me sort of I don't know, run this. There's a whole lot going on here, and that would be much appreciated. So thank you for that. And yeah, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So morning, Caitlin. Good to have you here. So my session was about engagement, right? Engagement and relationships, with an eye towards like blended learning, recognizing that this year we have teachers around the globe that are in probably every possible setting you can think of, right? We have in person, we have fully virtual, we have some sort of rotating schedule in which we have kids. Things we're doing with kids is going to look different, feel different. I know for me, my class is in rows this year. That's crazy. I don't think I ever, that might not be true. In one of my student teaching sort of years, the teacher that I was sort of co-teaching with had them in rows. So short of that, like anything I've ever been in control of hasn't been in rows. And so this is going to be different for me, and it's going to feel different for the kids, and they're going to know it's going to feel different. So what are we doing? My question to you, my first question really, is what are we going to do to overcome that obstacle, right? To lay a foundation that this is a safe space, a caring space, over and above. And like we're already starting sort of behind the eight ball here with what's going to feel very clinical to students, right? It's going to feel, clinical. And we as educators, our biggest currency with students is our relationship, right? But it's going to feel really different. I know at our school, for example, we have to do temperature checks before lunch. That's gonna do something to a kid's mind, I think, a little bit when your teacher is kind of radar gunning their foreheads every day. That's not a typical situation, right? That isn't what we've known as school, and that hasn't been my relationship with them in the past. So how am I going to overcome that? So that's a question I have for all of you. I'm really curious because that relationship is key. Let's see if we have some people here. Adam Marino definitely reminding people that we have a Twitter chat tonight hosted by Amanda Gray, who wrote me just before this. She couldn't be here at the teacher's table this morning, but she will be at XPLAP tonight hosting it, and that's going to be awesome, about music. Let's see. Morning, Carol. Glad you're here. We Adam Marino pointed out again, 27 watching, only 20 likes. All you guys got to do is smash that like button. It's a little tradition we have here. It's showing that you're present, you're here. It's got to be like one of those things where it's just super easy to click that button and kind of show we're all in this together. And then we have a little party. It's fun. Kathy Sue saying, because I was in a computer lab, we were in rows. However, those rows were funky. I dig it. Robert saying, we're fully virtual. Just found out last week. Have not yet fully wrapped my head around it, and we're going to build this classroom culture yet. That's huge. So last year we were fully virtual in that whole last segment there, obviously, like most people in the nation. Our school did a fantastic job. University School did a fantastic job really like thinking through what's good for school, what's good for students, and I think meeting that like needs of the student. Things like screen time, for example, we adjusted our schedule. So like we didn't just roll with, hey, we have 70-minute classes, we're going virtual, we'll do 70 minutes virtual. They actually reduced our class time to only 30 minutes. And I know that might sound shocking, but we reduced our class time to 30, then gave kind of a huge office hour sort of section of time. That was really helpful for students, so that our classes then became pretty hyper-focused. They were pretty quick, so we were putting a lot into those classes. But then you had this like awesome 3-hour chunk where kids could kind of meet with any teacher they needed. You could meet with groups, you could run little study sessions, you could run whatever you wanted. And it was kind of cool that kids kind of booked into it. It reminds me of the book Learner's Paradise, if you've ever checked that out, where school is less structured and you kind of book into the teachings that you need. And it reminded me of that. It was really awesome. Hopefully that's helpful. Let's see, what does Jennifer Knox say? Jennifer Knox says, we have to be even more intentional with our relationship building this year. Thank you, Jennifer. I hope we all hear that as much as we have a drive and a passion for what we teach, as much as we have built ourselves up, that what we teach is super important. And it is. Everything we teach is important, obviously. Like we've thought through our class, and we've sort of edited it down to what we see as like the right flow and the sequence for our kids. But I think this year, if we truly want to be the best teacher for kids, we're gonna have to lay some of that aside and not gripe about it, not put pressure on ourselves that you're behind your scope and sequence, and oh my gosh, we're not gonna get to that fifth novel or whatever the case may be. I think it's better to pace with the kids. This is one of those moments, it's like driving on the highway. Like there's a speed limit, but actually the safest play is to kind of go with the flow of traffic. And if the flow of traffic's going 5 miles over, it's actually safer for you to go 5 miles over. Here, I think our kids are going to be going 5 miles under, and it's better for us all if we just go with the flow of traffic on this. Let's see, Caitlin says, breaking out of our comfort zone and using Meet or Zoom to meet with small groups and play games. Love it. And that was one of the things that I shared in my session, my day 3 session. If we want to bring up Hive Summit here, if you haven't done so already, if you're catching this, sign up for Hive Summit so you can get kind of that all access pass. But if you click the learn more, you bring up our calendar here. There's all sorts of things happening. Today is Alexis Wiggins' session, which is fantastic, about spiderwebs discussions that you could use kind of at any grade. In the All Access Pass, you can get access to resources such as like her rubrics for multiple grade levels and subjects from 2nd grade all the way through high school. I do it in my middle school class. It's fantastic. Here we are at the teacher's table. Tomorrow we have a special teacher's table talk back with Christina Pinto and Jessica Toomey. Looking forward to that. That's going to be another teacher's table like this. We're still doing the one in the morning, and then we're doing one at noon Eastern Standard Time. And so on the point, Caitlin, about playing a game, this one works so well in a Zoom. So definitely check out Codenames online. It is a great game. It's called Codename, or the website's codenames.game. Talked about it in my session, a little bit how you use it. It's super slick. I swear you guys are going to dig it. You're going to dig it if you haven't done so already. We're at 22 on the light goals, guys. We're almost there. 8 more. We got this. Dean Gainey. I don't think I've ever taught in rows. Looks like I will be teaching in hybrid situation, which sounds exciting to me. Some online, some in the classroom. Like the positive spin, because it's happening either way. So I think it's our job to sort of think through how best to create that experience, how smooth we can keep that transition between the hybrid and the in-person versus virtual, right? Like that's going to be all a challenge for kids. Let's see what Hamdi says. My school district said we will teach online for 2 weeks and then we are back in person. We just need to be intentional and build the relationship in a more loving and caring way. As long as we're putting that heart first, I guarantee it's going to work. But if we start to let that head take over and don't put that heart first, that's the thing I guess I'm worried about. Anna Marino says, we need to put more mental and emotional health of our students before all else. Here, here. Content, grades, testing all need to take a backseat to SEL, exploration, and affirmation. 100% agree. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. We got to lead with the heart this year for sure. Jennifer Knox says, thank you for your session yesterday. I played with some of the tools you suggested. I do plan to play games more often during virtual class times. Fantastic. Jennifer Knox, I'm telling you, pick up the Bring Your Own Book game. It is fabulous. I'll bring that up here. I have that queued up. Bring Your Own Book is a fantastic game in class. You can use it very quickly. Kids love it. And if you do it, what I would suggest is take a moment to build a little bit of an ongoing scorecard, right? So I just simply took a Google sheet, put all my kids' names in it, and just literally put a 1 every time they ended up winning a round. And it was just kind of something fun to reference, like, 3 weeks, 5 weeks later, 10 weeks later, that like, oh, Jennifer, this is your first time winning, congratulations. Or like, woo, like Jennifer's doing really well. Super simple game, super fun. Maybe we'll actually do one here on the live stream. Jason says they are back to normal as possible, which is stressful as well. No social distancing, no mandatory masks, etc. Pretty stressed out. I am sorry to hear that, Jason. I will be honest, I am stressed out. My school's plan is to go back in person. Everything's more or less normal in terms of the schedule. However, we do have mandatory masks, but I'm concerned about that. So I hear you. God bless you, buddy. Let's see. With office hours, how about teachers' well-being with so much online time? I will say at the end of the year, it's hard for me to admit this. I'm usually a positive and optimistic person. By the end of the year, like my parents, it was the beginning of summer. It was like day one of summer, and we still had some school duties to do. And I was sort of griping about it to my parents that like, I still got to do this, and somebody still needs me to fill that out, and blah, like when will this year end? And my parents said, hey, like I've never seen you this way. And I think online teaching, that demand for like still taking care of our kids, because that's in us as teachers, with the demand of also being sort of excellent teachers and the best we can be, it was so much work. And I don't think I recognized how much work and the toll it took on sort of my personal life and my sort of self-care. And so at the end, I was a different person because I was out of energy. I had little left for life itself at that time. So as we move into a year that might be a full year of doing things differently, this year I do hope administration, as well as parent body, as well as student body, as well as the teacher body, recognizes we have to take care of ourselves, or else there's no way we're making it to that finish line. I think I would have dropped dead if I kept that up for the full year. So Michael makes a good point on that. What does Debbie says? Plan on sending out Flipgrid welcome messages to students before the year starts. We are starting with a hybrid model. That's awesome. Video welcome message is so fun to do. I put one together in iMovie. It was great. I went to my parents and grabbed different clips from my childhood and sort of put together this sort of welcome message. Maybe I'll get that together and show that on one of these teachers' tables after we're done reviewing everybody's session. So maybe afterwards I'll show that. That's a really good back to school idea. So thanks for reminding me of that. What does Carrie say? Carrie says, because I teach distance and in person simultaneously, I want to group students that are in class with distance learners often so that the community can still be built among students. This is something I am freaked out about, and I'm really trying to wrap my head around. How do I teach in person? Our school is using these things called the OWL system, and it's kind of a 360 camera with some abilities to lock on to sort of voice. I don't really understand it. I haven't used it yet, but for some students who are going to opt into online learning only. But I don't know how to do, in my mind right now, I don't know how to do justice to both. And that is a concern I definitely have. So how can I honor the online students while not ignoring the in-person students? And how can I not ignore the in-person students while obviously not ignoring the online? It's crazy. Let's see. As of now, we are a full go for face-to-face. My biggest concerns is how to build students' relationships with each other without group team building activities. 100%, right? Like I said, my whole class has been built around tables and doing Lego build challenges and some team building. And you can't really do a trust fall if no one's there to catch you because they're 6 feet away. So how do we build that safe space? I think a lot of it's going to be with language, guys. I think it's really important that we choose our words carefully this year, that we maybe dial back a little bit on the sarcasm, because we can't make it up in other situations. We can't make it up in other areas. So language is going to be key. We have to express that it is a safe space, express that we care. So I definitely am thinking through how I talk in my classroom even more than normal. Let's see here. So many great comments. I'm sorry, I'm way behind on the comments. Self-care is essential. Let's see here. Regina, how do you see our attitude? How the kids see our attitude is going to be huge. Where will lead, they will follow, or where we lead, they will follow. So true. That's what I'm saying. This language is key, and I think making sure we're okay is okay. So kind of like Michael said about mental health, we have to make sure we're coming refreshed and ready for school days. And if that means you have to assign a little less, so you have to grade a little less, so be it. If that means, your grading policies are a little different this year, so be it. I would think through all of those things before you start this year so that you can run a smooth class that doesn't have a ton of adjustments along the way, because you've already pre-thought of the fact that you're slowing things down. You're going to do things differently this year. This is big, and it's actually really a challenge for somebody like me who likes to innovate each year, and I like to try new things, and I like to add new things, and This year to me might be a way more about refinement. Let's dial our class back to the core, and so that experience can still shine through, even that 6 feet distance or the virtual distance or the masks, all these things. I want to boil my class down to the core elements and make sure kids still feel that warmth, even though they got to be a little farther away from the fire, so to speak. Jennifer Ledford, glad you're here, and no problem being behind on the videos. Hopefully you get a chance to catch mine. I liked it. This year I didn't have the same co-host though. I wish I had the same co-host, but it didn't work out recording wise to have my co-host there on my session. So many. Candace, that game is awesome. Like I said, I would recommend buying it. You can download a print and play. It doesn't have nearly as many cards, and truly we as educators got to support these things that we're using and then share out those things. So next time there is an ed camp, share out the fact that you're using Bring Your Own Book. It is a great addition. What's Hamdi say here? My favorite part about your session was helping students to keep fine-tuning their own frequency to support growth and learning, and also playing games and just be silly with kids. I mean, I know you teach kindergarten, so I am sure that like joy comes out, but as you teach olders, I don't know, like sometimes we fall into that trap of the scope and sequence, and I have to do this, and we're gonna not, if I'm not here by, winter break, then I'm not going to be here by the end of the year, and that's problematic. And the reality is we need to create safe spaces where kids can learn, and I gotta recognize that a part of that is to be silly, to be relational. Take a moment, tell a story about your life, even if it is a little off the curricular path here. Thanks for that like. We got one more like here. That's awesome. 7 away, guys, 7 away from our like goal. I want to have that dance party. We have 7 minutes to go, and we have 7 likes to go. Let's see. It's super important that we as teachers bring a positive attitude regardless of the model we'll have to follow. Our energy transfers to our students right away. It is a conscious effort daily. This is true. So like while we're at the table here, I think this is a safe space. I can admit I am nervous, but it is about building up the strength to be there and be there fully. So for Jason and I who are in person, for Hamdi, who's going to be in person after a little bit. For anybody else that's going to be in person, we got to be confident in that. And for those of you that are going virtual, that's not a free pass. That's not an easy pass. And you guys have to show up to your virtual classrooms and dial it up a little bit, right? We have to like get beyond this, right? Like breaking through that little glass is pretty tough. And so you have to kind of dial it up. Like if you think you're funny, if you think you're like normally a nice guy or whatever, and you can, in your physical space, people can feel that. But in here, it's a little harder. So you have to kind of dial it up. So if you're doing the virtual, you have to sort of show up and do that to your best of your abilities, for sure. Maybe even beyond your abilities. Push yourself a little bit. That is going to be important, for sure. Let's see. Jennifer Knox saying she saw that same energy drain on class. Definitely this year we have to realize we're running a marathon. I think we shifted in the midst of the year, right? Because like everybody, it just happened. And that put us in sort of a sprint mode. That put us in a little like panic, holy cow, we have to put out the fire mode. And I think, at least for me, I stayed in that mode until the last responsibility of last year. And then finally let down, and it was amazing. The distance of letting down. I mean, it was like, woo, it was a plummet. So this year I have to recognize we're not running a sprint. We're not putting out a fire. This has been the intentional choice of our school to run school this way. Well, now I have to also take care of myself, or else I'll be good to no one. So that's a good thing to remember. Dean Gainey here says, the truth is that in the days ahead, the connections will be extremely important. You are not alone. Together, we are better. We can do this despite the challenges that it is real. So true, and I hope here at the Hive Summit, we're building some connections here that can get us through and sustain us throughout the year. I hope throughout the year when we move to Teacher's Table to different times, because we're in different times, I hope we guys can still come together and learn from each other on Teacher's Table, for example, because we need to be here for each other, for sure. I like Regina. More likes, dance party, totally worth it. So true, guys, so true. I love it. What does Carrie say? I have the same concerns about engaging with both online and in-person students. I'm sure we will figure it out by trial and error throughout the year. Well, keep me informed, because I like your idea of pairing students. I don't know. I teach 10-year-olds. Like, I don't know if they can wrap their head. Like, even I'm struggling to wrap my head around how to do that and do that well. But, I mean, it's a good idea. Let's see what Mike Washburn chimes in here. Those working in private schools like you have probably a little more added complexity, since parents have a different expectation level when they are paying for education. It is true. It puts us in a little bit of a, I don't know, servant mode. Like, you do have to like serve your population extra, because they have paid for it. I will tell you, after teaching in a private school now for 12 years, and I've taught public for a long time before that too, it's actually an attitude that I think we should all have. Like, I've definitely learned a lot by working in a private school, because it really like accentuates the fact that we are all here and we need to do the best by our students, like even further, because you realize like people are paying for this, right? Dave Burgess's famous line of like, would people pay money to see what you're doing? Like, that's literally what they are doing. They are paying money to see what we're doing. They are buying tickets to our classes. So what can we do? Can we make today's class worth whatever the price point is of today? It's a different mindset for sure. Jennifer Knox says, Teacher's Table and connections with the XP-Lab community have helped me deal with the stress while I taught online in spring and summer. I appreciate this community so much. We appreciate having you here, Jennifer. And like I said, we're going to continue this throughout the year, because We need it. We all need it. We're in this together. Let's see here. So many great comments here. Carol says she loves the tools I shared. We didn't really talk about them, so I don't know if this should count as my talk back. What do you guys think? You think I should do a different talk back session where we address specifically the things that I discussed, or was this okay? Did we cover it all? You let me know in the comments here if you think we should do a talk back. If you're catching this later, you can leave the comment down below if you think we should do the talk back. We only got to 23 on the likes for today. Unfortunately, I thought we'd get there on my day, but we didn't. No confetti today, but hopefully another day. As always, too, guys, invite other people to the teacher's table. We can get to those like goals real fast if we help grow this community. So if you've been finding this valuable, bring some friends to the table. It's amazing help. And really, the more people we have at the table, the more ideas we have, and I love that. Matt's here is new, first time pulling up a chair at teacher's table. I feel honored to be part of the Hive. It is so much more responsible way of getting buzzed at 9 a.m. I love it. Matt, thanks for coming. I hope you come back to the teacher's table in the future. So many great things. Let's see. Hamdi says yes, please. So okay. So I'll have to schedule a talk back, it looks like. Yeah. So all right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today. As always, I hope you guys continue to interact with the Hive Summit. Continue to check out today's video and future videos. Tomorrow we have that talk back with Christina Pinto and Jessica Toomey, and hopefully you catch that at 12 Eastern Standard Time. That'll be a fun little talk back session with both of them. And it looks like I said Kathy Sue and Hamdi wouldn't mind a talk back on my session, so maybe I'll definitely do that. Thank you so much for the follow there, the subscribe. That's definitely going to help us grow and learn together throughout the year, so I always appreciate that. Subscribing to the channel, big help, and hopefully you guys have a good day. I want you guys to get after it, and excuse me there. I want you guys to definitely get after it. I want you to be excited. I want you to be present, and I want you to be awesome. Hopefully, you guys get to do all of those things today. All right, guys, take care.